Howdy guys, Attorney Walter Knott. Let's get right to the video. Now, I am super tired today, so I want you to just keep this in mind. You can't beat up on me too much today. Now, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, happy to everybody out there that's going to be celebrating some unique, amazing moment in history, whether it's religious or not, through the next couple of weeks. I salute you. Now, let's get right to the point of this video. This is going to be part of a series where I show you guys things that do not usually come to light. And as a result of that, if this channel magically disappears, you will know why. And it's important that you know these facts. It's important that you know these stories. And I'm going to be bringing them to light so that you can understand a little bit better as to the great promises that politicians make, the amazing deeds that the judges are supposed to do, and then the result of when they do horrific, tremendously terrible things to the American people. All right, please remember to like, subscribe, leave 5-star reviews. I'm going to put that in the chat section. Before we get into the thicket of this whole thing, I need you guys to know one thing, and that's I have begun meeting with a trust attorney to set up a trust that people can donate to, and I will be donating to it myself to fund a class action lawsuit against multiple federal agencies to increase the cost of living adjustment to an actual representative number each year, and to look at the abuse that has occurred to set it at a higher level as to what it should currently be based off of when the programs were originally put in place. Okay, we got that out of the way. Let's get into it. So these are the horrific facts, the baddies, the really terrible ones that the SSA, some elephants under the prison. I want to start off with this one. I think this is an easy one to really grasp, comprehend, not so much enjoy, but it is reality. Number one, I'm going to read to you directly from the United States Attorney's Office, Northern District of Alabama, Social Security Administrative Law Judge, sentenced to prison for accepting sexual gratuity, stealing SSA records, and obstruction. Hey. Also, real quick, guys, thank you so much to Shirley for making the $10 donation. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. We're going to go into this real quick. This was produced originally March 22nd, 2017 by justice.gov. Birmingham, a federal judge today sentenced a former administrative law judge. Okay, so an ALJ, like the judges you go in front of for your Social Security disability benefits. So one of those judges was sentenced by a higher level federal judge. Okay, for the Social Security Administration to 1 year and a day in prison for crimes. So 1 year and a day. This is a felony. For crimes, including engaging in a sex act with a Social Security beneficiary whose case he presided over, announced Acting U.S. Attorney Robert O. Posey, SSA Officer of Inspector General Special Agent in Charge Margaret Jackson, and FBI Special Agent in Charge Roger Stanton. So we got the FBA in there. We got the Office of Inspector General in there. We got basically U.S. Acting U.S. Attorney in there. We got some big players. Like if you look at the chessboard, we're not talking about pawns. We're talking about castles, horses, and bishops. All right, good. Now, U.S. District Court Judge Virginia Emerson Hopkins sentenced Paul, this is the ALJ right here, Paul Stribling Conger Jr., 74 years old, of Akron, Alabama, for obstructing justice, accepting a gratuity for an official act of a public official, and stealing government property. Okay, let's see what he did. Conger pleaded guilty to the charges in October. The judge also ordered Conger to pay a $4,000 fine, slap on the wrist. Okay, he must report to prison July 24th. This is an old guy, right? This is an old judge, 74 years old. Conger served as an administrative law judge for the Social Security Administration from May 1999 to April 2014. 15 years. 15 years this judge served, presiding over hearings to determine whether someone who applied for disability or other SSA benefits qualified to receive them. Conger's judicial chambers were in the federal courthouse in Tuscaloosa. According to court records, in July of 2013, Conger presided over the claims hearing of a woman identified in court documents as TM. They're only going to give you TM, not the real name. Who subsequently, I could probably pull up, but we'll skip that. who subsequently was approved for SSI. So she's getting Title 16 SSI benefits, including future monthly payments and retroactive benefits. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is that SSI doesn't usually include retroactive benefits, only back pay benefits up to the date, right, that you filed. In November 2013, TM discussed Conger with a mutual acquaintance of theirs and was given information that led her to approach the judge about receiving her retroactive SSI benefits in a lump sum of about $10,000. So what's happening is the judge knew someone who knew her. She approached the judge about getting more of this back pay. Okay. On November 19th, 2013, TM met Conger in his chambers at the Tuscaloosa Federal Courthouse. Okay. Seeking the lump sum benefit payment. Conger, the judge, illegally received a gratuity from TM when the two engaged in sexual activity in his chambers. This is a federal judge having a good time in his chambers at 73 years old. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if that's well, no. He was younger than that. He was probably around 70 something. He's probably around 70, maybe like 69. This is a judge who had a good time. And that's not okay. Over ensuing week, it's horrible. And here's why. First off, claimants don't usually approach the judge in their chambers thereafter. That's just not supposed to happen, right? Not with disability. You know, you reach out, you speak to a clerk, you interact with the clerk, but you don't really go to their chambers. And I get that some of them aren't represented, but that's just not how it's supposed to work. There's supposed to be a little bit of a barrier there. All right. When the two engaged in sexual activity in his chambers, over ensuing weeks, they remained in contact through phone calls and text messages. I guess it was, to some degree that they worked. It worked, right? They were happy. Maybe it could have been that she wanted the money and he was the way to get it. Who knows? But, they were still doing calls and text messages. Hey, Conger stole government property when he took TM's records from the SSA database to learn more about her. The information included medical records and identifiers such as her social security number. Conger obstructed justice by attempting to obtain TM's cell phone and destroy it after learning that he was the subject of a workplace complaint and an SSA Office of Inspector General investigation. According to the court records, Conger paid someone, individual B, to obtain the phone and provided the individual with material to TM's SSA file to help that person find her. Now, here's what's weird about it. TM's phone number, her contact information, is going to be on the 3368 form, which is directly inside the E that the judge has access to. So, I mean, maybe there was an old phone or a phone that didn't work or whatever, but the bottom line is, in this instance, he should have had access to that cell phone and shouldn't have needed this individual B to actually get it. So that's a little weird too. There's a couple of things that are a little off in this case. Conger falsely told federal agents that he never had any physical or sexual contact with the claimant, including TM, even after he was notified that he was the target of a federal grand jury investigation. Grand jury, that's important. SSA, OIG, and FBI investigated the case, which Assistant U.S. Attorney Tamara Mathis Johnson prosecuted. So when you guys are sitting back saying these judges, they act holier than thou, or they, sorry, my hair's all messed up, guys. I'm so tired. That they act essentially like, they would never do, or they would never yada yada, or blah, blah, blah. These things happen. Now, look, the judge should have never met with this person after the hearing in his chambers related to this matter when there was any connection, beyond essentially only SSA stuff, right? If there's somebody else that knows her and he knows her, blah, 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 that should have been a hands-off, should have been handled through, the clerk of the judge. The judge should have protected himself. Of course, the judge fancied the lady. That's what happened, right? I mean, if we're just on it, that's what the judge fancied the lady. So as a result, there was to some degree. Now, here's the thing. Here's my question. I haven't gone through the entire case file on this, right? I haven't read the whole thing. I started to read it and then I ran out of time. But the bottom line is some initial emotional questions that I have, right? Some initial, questions. Number one, I guess is the big one. When it comes to this situation, how many times has this happened before with this judge? Did the investigation start before this or after this? Right? And this is what the attorney brain starts to do, is to picking it apart. It's my brain trying to hack the claim to see where the strengths are and weaknesses are. Then I start to think, okay, have these two known each other for a longer period of time? What can be proved as to contact as to when they originally came together? If it's consensual, were they girlfriend and boyfriend? And then he shouldn't have heard the claim to begin with. Or, because like, look, I mean, think about it. She meets him. They're doing this thing in his office, in the judge's chambers. You know what I mean? To me, to some degree, and I mean, they could argue whatever, but to me, to some degree, if they're going right to it, right? If they're getting right to that, there's probably to some degree a history of this activity between these two individuals, right? All right. So what I'll do is I'll get the full brief. We'll read through it at another time. We're just doing summaries right now. We're having a good time. All right. Remember, these are the horrific facts that the SSA would like to keep under the rug where there's some pretty giant elephants. All right. Another thing that I want to talk about. So here's what's going on. A lot of people got excited about this. I haven't talked about it because I get worried about how you guys will react to some of the information that I give you. But I'm just going to give it to you. And if you explode internally, that's your own thing. I can't stop that. All right. Number one, a lot of you recognize that there was an attorney who was kicked out of a Girl Scout troop trip with her daughter because facial recognition software picked her out. And then basically, she was at this Madison Square Garden entertainment event, right? Of Radio City. And, and they own many venues. And this attorney's law firm had sued the parent company, was beginning the process of going through with all this litigation. And even though this attorney was part of that firm, but had nothing to do with the lawsuit related to that particular company, when she entered onto the premises, the facial scan discovered who she was. And as a result of that, they told her she had to leave with, her little Girl Scout cookies in hand. And so the attorney was like, whoa. Now, why is this relevant to Social Security world? As we know from Twitter, as we know from Facebook, the federal government directly integrates with the information that is hidden to most people trying to find out something about someone. If you were to study and look up phone calls and phone numbers and their usage, you would see that millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year are paid to phone companies to extract information and give it to law enforcement. Now, some people are protected from this unless, the court goes ahead and, allows them to go and begin the process of obtaining it, right? Some people are protected. Attorney-client privilege protects a person, right? And there are other privileges that protect people. But most of you guys don't have any of those. And as a result of that, the federal government can not only search your phone records, they have to have a reason to do it, but you gotta look at do they have reasonable suspicion, right? Is there probable cause, right? Where are we going up the chain of evidence? But what's important about this is not so much the phone records, the text messages, but what's happening now is that facial recognition software is being used heavily by different groups, whether it's the CIA, the FBI, your alphabets, right? And inherent in that, through CDI units, the SSA is using facial recognition information to go ahead and essentially figure out who, what, when, where you might have been. When you go into a Walmart, when you go into an airport, when you go into this place or that place, you enter something of a picture onto Twitter, onto Facebook. You are availing yourselves to being a scanned facial recognition image, which means that they can pretty quickly collect evidence on you that's digital. And the problem inherent with that little factoid is that at the end of the day, something you might have had a fun day, a good day, you were feeling good as a disabled person, you're out there on the jet ski, and then all of a sudden their system pings and says, okay, we see this person on a jet ski on this other person's profile on Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest or whatever, and now they're looking for date stamps. They're trying to figure out whether or not this is a recent photo. They have an analysis, or an analyst rather, go through the image to see whether or not this is truly you, a comparative of images that they have on file. And they can basically go through and figure out whether or not you are a potential fraud on the system. That's scary, right? Because it didn't used to be that way. We used to have a lot more privacy, but now big government is more like massive government. It's the big G. It's competing to some degree with God in being everywhere and seeing all things. Next one we're going to talk about is over here. I think this is pretty important. Okay. Now, remember how you guys were talking about, and we were all in agreement, that inflation is way more than 8.7% going into 2023, whether it's for retirement benefits, whether it's for VA benefits, whether it's for SSI benefits, or Social Security disability insurance benefits. We all agree that the 8.7% cost of living adjustment, the COLA, is way too low. Here's another little fact that's kind of interesting. Wendy's, Taco Bell customers might be shocked to learn this. That's the name of the article. It's from thestreet.com. All right, so here's the deal. They've got this group, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, found that grocery prices rose 12% between November 2021 and 2022, while eating out is now 8.5% more expensive. Interesting, okay? Price increases have significantly altered how many people shop and how often they go out. Last summer, insurance company Breeze found that 73% of American households cut back on restaurants and takeout to outpace inflation, while 57% bought fewer or cheaper kinds of groceries. And here's why. They usually do analysis on groceries that are non-label brands. So when you do the analysis, you're looking at non-label brands, but you and I, we tend to buy these label brands because the non-label is usually sold out, or the label brand has something unique about it that we like it's organic, or it has extra vitamins in it, or whatever, right? So we are almost always spending more than the mathematical metrics that they're presenting to you, because what they're presenting is the easy, titled. It's not the real Jell-O. It's not the real, it's not the high-end eggs that you normally buy. So you always get these percentages that are not truthfully accurate. But let's keep reading. One segment that has seen an unexpected boost, right, is the fast food industry. While rising prices of beef and chicken has definitely dealt them a blow, many have also been seeing higher traffic from different groups of earners. What they're saying is that a lot of people that normally wouldn't eat fast food are now eating fast food. So like people that would eat at Chili's, people that would eat at Ruby Tuesdays, they're now eating fast food. All right. So Placer.ai, they recently calculated that while overall restaurant visits fell by 7.6% in July and 13.7% last August, McDonald's, right, their traffic rose by a respective 4.7% and 3.1%. Now, this is important. Let's go through this real quick. If you were to look at Wendy's and Taco Bell and Burger King, right, and you were to look at their price increases, and this is the important part of this, because the price increases dictate to you how out of control inflation really is. And if you look at fast food places, that's an interesting indicator. It's a place that provides a massive amount of food at a fast-paced restaurant with the intent to sell a lot of product quickly, as opposed to the sit-down restaurant, the higher quality, the luxurious, right? There's a lot of elements with that. But with the fast food places, okay, it's a lot of food and fast. So there's fewer variables here. Menu tracking site Pricelisto.com calculated menu averages at different chains and found that Wendy's, my beloved, made some of the biggest overall price hikes in the last year. $4.90 for the average menu item in September of 2021 and $6.63 in October of 2022 for an increase of, here's your inflation, here's your yearly inflation number. Wendy's, $4.90 in 2021 September to $6.63 in October of 2022. That's a 35% increase in that item, which is, of course, the average menu item. 35%. Chick-fil-A, another sweetheart of mine, prices rose 15.6% from 14.02 for an average menu item in 2021. Okay, 4.04 bucks and 2 cents, 2021 to 4.65, $4.65 in 2022. That's Yum Brands. Okay, and basically, Yum Brands, which is not Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is their own thing. You know, they got their own yada yada. So Chick-fil-A had a 15.6%. Wendy's had a 35%. Yum Brands, Taco Bell, saw price increases of 14.6% from $2.94 to $3.37. While the average product at Restaurant Brands International, okay, Burger King, we all know it. A lot of them were going out of business because they went super Southwestern. I don't know why. I am a fellow of the Burger King burgers. Saw a price hike of only 2% from $5.03 to $5.14. Certain items compensated for others. The popular chicken fries now cost 16% more, however, from $4.64 now compared to $3.97 in 2021. Let's be honest about Burger King. Burger King can't figure out how to stay in business because people are not going to Burger King. Wendy's, look, Wendy's has the overall crowd. They're becoming like the new McDonald's. Chick-fil-A, let's call it like it is. That thing is smothered in butter. And me loves the chickens. Me loves those chicken nugs. Me loves the #1 combo deluxe, Colby Jack cheese. You know what I'm talking about. Dip it in the Chick-fil-A sauce. Have a little, waffle fry here and there. It's all good. Now, the next thing is this. Taco Bell, they've got the night crew. How many of you have worked late your entire life to the point where your eyes are falling out of your head? You can see they've begun to droop. That's okay. We're going to move forward from that. And with that said, Taco Bell is a mistake. You know it's a mistake. You go eat it anyways, and I support your choices. I almost said something heinous there. Like I support your choices. If you want to eat Taco Bell and get 2 Nacho Grandes and a big, ridiculous Diet Mountain 2, I support you. Just make sure you get extra beef. That's how you do it. All right, now, McDonald's prices. The so-called king, the Golden Arches, the clown with the play place, which still creeps me out. McDonald's prices, meanwhile, decreased from $3.97 in 2021 to $3.77 by October 22. They decreased their prices. Despite some big increases temporarily made during the summer, CFO Kevin Ozan said that the restaurant raises prices by 6% during a recent earnings call to deal with the 4% commodity price increases of food and paper increases. Now, here's their summary on this. Likely due to the rising cost of chicken, Chick-fil-A's grilled chicken sandwich is another item that has seen a particularly large price hike of 10%, 7.23 to 6.57 last fall. Now, I want to do one final thing here, and then we're going to talk about why this is relevant. Breaking the general poultry trend, Taco Bell's chicken quesadilla dropped in price from $5.82 in September 2021 to $4.56 in October 2022. These calculations are also an average around the country. Specific prices also vary by location depending on what's available in a given region, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now look, some of these restaurants know that they need to have their anchor products. The anchor store of a big chain is like a Walmart, is like a Home Depot, it's like a Michael's, it's like a movie theater. You go to BJ's, your wholesale yada yada place, they'll sell you a 3 to 5 pound, chicken for $5 cooked. They lose money on it, but they know it's going to bring you back for more, especially if you have dogs. So the point is this: some of these metrics, they know they've got to get you in the store. But then they got to sell you the milkshake, which I recently bought. And the milkshake now at Chick-fil-A only comes in one size. Massively pequeño. Not the El Grande that you used to be able to buy. All right. So my point here is they're trying to figure out how to attract you to come into their stores. But one thing you're not thinking about is that each one of these places is not based on the metrics that the SSA uses. Because each one of these places is a label brand of food. Okay, it's when you go to, Wendy's, when you go to McDonald's, you're not getting just any, great value version of French fries that you got to throw in the fryer. No, no, no. You're getting their, seasoned deluxe crispy fries. Very important. So my point to you is you can see through the cracks of this that inflation is really, really rampant. And it's kind of out of this control of what people want to see. The ironic thing is that a lot of people expected with, Biden, a fourth stimulus, B, for him to really improve SSI benefits, C, for him to look at retirement, approach disability, SSDI benefits, and try to fix them, right? Try to go ahead and do all the things that he talked about in his pre-White House website. I did a video on it. I don't know if you guys remember it. It had around 500,000 views. Okay, it was relatively important. All right, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about the White House for a moment. I know some of you get a little cranky when I bring up Senor Biden. I know some of you feel very connected to that individual. I don't understand it at all. It's a politician. They're not sitting at your dinner table. You don't owe them money. Well, now you do because they just passed a taxation bill. All right, we're not going to talk about that. Here we go. Huffington Post. SSI asset limit change omitted from omnibus bill. Congress won't lift the ban on savings for people on disability. What we're talking about here is SSI. SSI. A lot of you guys will watch my videos and you'll be like, is this about disability, SSDI, or is this about SSI disability, the poverty disability program? This is about SSI. A bill to change supplemental security income strict asset limit has bipartisan support. Republicans and Democrats are cool with it. They're on board with it, just not Biden. But not enough of them to make it into law. Washington. It's by Arthur Delaney, December 21st, 2022. They just published this like yesterday. Washington said, lawmakers have decided not to change one of the federal government's most outdated welfare rules as part of the government funding bill set to pass this week. I'm going to give you a heads up. It has to do with the 2,000 that they were supposed to make into 10,000. Disabled Americans receiving monthly benefits from supplemental security income. Remember, SSI, not SSDI. From the SSI program aren't allowed to have more than $2,000 in savings, or else the Social Security Administration docks their pay. Remember, that's resources too. Us resources in general. You have more than one car. You got fancy stuff that they can, calculate into it as a resource. Man, that attaches to this $2,000. Senator Sherrod Brown, one of the guys who's actually genuinely trying to fix SSI and SSDI benefits. And Rob Portman. So Sherrod Brown's a Democrat. Check him out. He's not one of these extreme, often Lululand Democrats. He's solid, okay? And then you got Rob Portman, Republican Ohio, another good Republican, introduced a bill raising the asset limit to $10,000 for individuals and $20,000 for couples. Which makes sense because, if you have $2,000 to $3,000, they've had that rule of $2,000, $3,000 for really long time, really extra long time. They should change it, or they should have modified the rule so that it increases every year based upon our horrible, terrible cost of living adjustment. All right, so here's the bottom line: the 10,000, 20,000 rule. They're not going to do it. They're not going to put it in there. They don't want to have it. Phooey. It's not going to be in the omnibus. Instead, they're going to leave you with something that you've had for over a decade, which is the $2,000 for an individual, or $3,000 for a couple, which sucks. That's like you should have been $4,000, right? But then they just screw you over. All right, but the measure has been omitted from the end of year spending legislation. That was its last chance to become law. Because remember, we're looking at 2023, 2024 budget stuff at this point. Like the end of the Biden administration's budget is what we're talking about here. Before the 2024 election and somebody else takes over. Whoever, anybody, please, anybody. All right, Senator Mike Crapo, whatever. I don't know him that well. Republican in Idaho. The top Republican on the Senate Finance Committee which has jurisdiction over the Social Security Administration. That's so weird. I rarely read about him. I should know him backwards and forwards. Said the measure lacked broad bipartisan support, partly because lawmakers viewed it as opening a can of worms. Yeah, you would open the can of worms so that SSI people would not be in extreme poverty, just severe poverty. Oh, we're making fixes. We're just doing it slow. All right. Here's the quote. It didn't get into this deal because Social Security issues were not in this bill. That's what he said. Republican of Idaho. Senate Finance Committee, jurisdiction of the Social Security Administration. There you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that, because now you know that the reason that they did not fix this ancient rule that came before human caves, dragons, beasts of greatness, Jigglypuff, all before that. This is all because they didn't try and give a bleeping bleep to even fix it for those people who are struggling on SSI. And let's be clear here. White House loves illegal immigrants, loves naturalizing immigrants, loves refugees. And you know what those groups tend to tap into? If they can, they tap into the 7-year SSI provision that a lot of you guys will wait 2 to 3 years to be found disabled on. Yeah, it's awesome. Stings a little bit. The eyes droop. Sadness. I get it. Now, with that sound, Brown, Portman, and some like-minded colleagues first tried to attach the asset limit fix to a broader bill aimed at improving tax benefits for retirement savings, which the Finance Committee approved over the summer. Remember, there's a lot going on with finances. What the government's trying to do is, and I'm going to try and summarize it in a way that explains to you how moronically stupid it is. Because politicians are not willing to fix retirement, they're trying to force companies to save for you into 401ks so that you get money by paying an additional tax that is forced upon you, instead of just fixing Social Security benefits to pay you enough. They're going to tax you more to force money into another program. Brilliant. The highest level of human capacity in America funneled into our political, beautiful, grinding to a halt machine. The House, the Senate, the White House. It's just a trash fire. It literally is a trash fire. If you had anything that would be, just something that you would discard, like if let's say you had I don't know, something that was moldy, right? Like you left it outside and you're like, it's sitting there in the rain. It's been there for 3 weeks. I'm going to throw it out. That would be a good example of how we should approach our politicians. That would be a very equitable example. All right, now here we go. Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden, Democrat Oregon, didn't want the amendment as part of the retirement bill, which wound up included in the year-end spending bill known as an omnibus. There was still a chance this week that the asset limit fix would catch a ride on the omnibus too, but its $10 billion cost probably weighed it down in backroom negotiations. It's all committee crap, right? Just goes into committees. And if it's for you guys, forget it. It ain't going to happen. Just forget it. It's for other people, other countries, maybe some immigrants coming in, some refugees coming in. Fast track. You're getting the speed pass. But I don't know why, but Americans keep coming last. I don't get it. You would think the people who pay for the, you know what I mean? You wouldn't bite the hand that feeds you. Instead, you've literally bitten it off, chewed it, spit it out. And now it's that thing that's been sitting in the corner out in the rain that you have to throw out. That's the American people. All right, let's keep going. Roughly 8 million Americans receive SSI benefits, which will max out at $914 per month next year. Whoa, from $841 up to $914. Woot woot. It's a separate program for Social Security disability insurance, which requires a work history and has higher monthly payments. Right, so we're only talking about SSI here. Okay. Applicants for SSI benefits must agree to let the government check their bank accounts to make sure they're poor. That's literally what it's written as from the article from Huffington Post. Applicants for SSI benefits must agree to let the government check their bank accounts to make sure they're poor and to tell the authorities if someone regularly gives them food, because heaven forbid they be given bananas. If they get too many bananas, they will find you, and you will get an overpayment. Apples, the same. All right, next thing here. The rules haven't been changed since, there it is, 1989. 1989, a long time ago. I'm super tired. I'm not doing math. You figured it out. 1989 to the current time. Okay. That's how long we've had this ridiculous asset limit rule of 2,000/3,000 for couples. 1989, if the asset limit had kept pace with inflation, it would be nearly 5,000 today, but still based off of the bad math from the government. So, yeah. All right. So, bottom line is they talk about it. They're not happy. Republicans support changing the asset limit because it's stuck at 2,000, meaning it's an obvious marriage penalty. Most tax and welfare policies go double for couples. I think it's a very Republican idea to change the limit, Portman told HuffPost this week. It's not clear when Congress might revisit the matter. You're going to have a new president. That's what's going to happen. House Republicans generally favor making disability benefits less generous, not more. So Huffington Post obviously leans super left, so they're always going to throw a little at, the Fox News, Republicans, that stuff. I'll read it again. So, House Republicans generally favor making disability benefits less generous, not more. Okay. All right. And that's not always accurate too, because remember, retirement, SSDI benefits, they do advocate, some of them very heavily for those. But for the SSI benefits, the not paid in benefits, they tend to correct, as it was put there, not want to go ahead and increase that program either in size or change the principles of resources. But once again, there's support on both sides. They didn't pass it. So I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It just is what it is. Okay. So with that said, we've now gone over a lot of things. I'm going to save this one, which is heinous. I mean, friggin' heinous. Social Security employee went to jail for nearly 6 years in prison for fraud. We're going to save some of these other ones for the next video. Now, with that said, remember, I'm tired. So if you beat me up tonight, I'm going to hate you just a little bit, but I'll forgive you later. Now, we're going to do the part of the show where I answer questions. Please remember not to ask me anything that which I will have to think too hard about tonight. I've been working nonstop. It is the holidays, right? We're going to give me a little handicap tonight. I'm just kidding. Of course, I'll get the worst questions you've ever heard in your entire life that no other attorney will ever deal with. Deb Carter, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Love the chair. My chair is actually falling apart. A little piece of it came off while I was sitting here. Excellent. Very cool. Very good. Now, there's a big secret thing that I want to share with you guys too, but I can't yet. We're getting closer very soon. I'm going to open up the phones to essentially do phone calls. Here we go. Very good. That is the phone number right there. If you want to, go ahead and give me a call. Ask me questions about disability benefits. I'm ready, willing, excited, tired, not too excited. Let's get to it. All right, guys. So the first person to call in, I realize I'm super late tonight, so let me see. All right, nobody has called in. I might get done early. All right, look. So here's the game I'm going to play because it is the holidays. This guy wants to go sleep in a big way. If you have, my shoe just broke. My stuff's falling apart. If you have, it's all from Walmart. If you guys have any disability questions, you can call me at the 407-279-1754 phone number. You will notice that I do not have anything in my ear. There's no person feeding me information, law, rules, suggestions, just like every night. Whereas a lot of the other attorneys, when they take live calls, they always have some sort of interface to feed them information. I don't do that because I either know what the answer is, can find it immediately, or I have to answer it on another week. Let's see. I'm not seeing I'm not seeing any phone calls. Any phone calls coming in? Are you guys sparing me tonight? Are you treating me extra special because we got some holidays coming up? I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. All right, one more time, guys, and then I might be able to end the show early. Oh, damn it. All right. We got our first caller. Here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live. Remember to use a fake name throughout this program. And ... Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
I'd like to ask a specific question.
Perfect. Let me get the volume up real quick. What can I help you with?
Okay, I'm getting some back pay for SSI,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to buy a trailer, a cargo trailer, and convert it into a home. Right now, I'm able to live with somebody, but I'm not sure how long that's gonna last. So when I'm trying to think ahead, so when I do get the money, that I'm able to, have something that if something goes bad, you know what I mean?
So here's the deal. Look, cargo trailers, your classic enclosed trailers are more expensive now. And I don't know why, I don't understand it, than basically RVs. You can literally go find a somewhat decent RV for the same price or even cheaper than an enclosed trailer. So what size trailer are you looking at? Because there's an RV out there with your name on it.
Well, I'm looking for just like a 12 by 7 foot trailer, something small, nothing. I don't want an RV because I don't want to have to drive that and waste gas. I live in California and it's expensive.
Okay.
So
here's
I had
what
more in mind of a cargo trailer.
Here's what you want. Okay. You want an aluminum body because the fiberglass, it just gets destroyed in the sun. And, California's got a lot of sun. So you want an aluminum body. So you want to find essentially, wow, we got a donation here. Miss Sharbormas. Help me out with the pronunciation. I absolutely love, it's a little like Japanese, like whatchamacallit. That's awesome. That's very cool. So good sir, you're going to want basically an aluminum body. And she donated $19.99. That's incredible. Guys, I really, really appreciate it because this super secret thing that's going on in my life right now is really expensive. So, but okay, so good sir, aluminum body. If you can get essentially a good chassis on a single axle, do it. You're not going to find that though. So get a dual axle. So, there's two axles. You're not looking for a dually where there's two tires on each side. You're just looking for dual axle, one tire each side, and then there's two axles. So you got 4 tires total. And what you're going to want is you're going to look at the chassis because they spread a lot of salt over there and see how the rust is. If it's not bad rust, you're going to undercoat it, which means put like chassis saver or whatever, any one of those types of things. And basically any spots are going to come into sunlight, or if you park by water, then you go ahead and have to paint over basically that chassis stuff. Now with the body, aluminum trailers, you have to watch the seams, but they're very easy to fix, which means you're not going to get leakage problems. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and build something into it, are we talking like, you're going to make a YouTube thing out of this and make this luxury thing? We're going to see beautiful wood, cute plants, and like some beautiful women next to you? Or is this one of these gigs where, it's going to be like, what you found on Craigslist to put up as like, you're taking kitchen cabinets, you're throwing them up on the wall, you got a fold down bed. I mean, what level are we talking about here?
Well, right now, I'll have enough money to make it nice, and I do have tools to do everything. And right now I have the time to do it, so I want it to look nice, and
Okay.
Probably. I mean, I figure the trailer's about $6,000-7,000 for one of those, a used one.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I would go with that. But man, I mean, don't get an enclosed trailer. Like get a pre-done, that you can fix and improve. Because if you got to figure this thing out where you're like mapping out where this is going to go, mapping out where that's going to go. And here's the thing: if you're just doing, if you're doing a trailer that size, I would not recommend, a push out, because the problem with push outs is that you're going to spend your life sealing it. And I mean, realistically, on that size, you're not going to see a push out because there's just not enough weight to hold it down on the other side. So are you thinking, like, what brand are you looking at?
Well, my question really was, would I be able to do that on SSI?
Yeah, you can use your back pay for that.
I don't know if they're going to count that as a resource or an asset.
Well, that's your dwelling, right?
Yeah, that would be my dwelling.
So here's the tricky part of it. You have to look at it as from the perspective of how they see it. And also different areas look at it differently. But the bottom line is and the SSA has become more understanding with this stuff. When they look at these things, they look at to see if they're set up to be something that's supposed to be used overnight. and whether or not it can be considered to be a dwelling, and whether or not this dwelling can fall under essentially like the your house provision, like where you're living provision. Is there a plan to put this on a piece of property legally, or is this like you're just going to find some 5-acre plot, put it in the middle, and hope everything works out?
Well, the way I had seen it was if I'm not able to stay where I'm at now, I would have to leave, and then I would have to park it at a Walmart overnight, and then somewhere else the next night. You know what I mean?
All right, so that ain't gonna work, because now we're talking about a registered attachment to your vehicle. That's a trailer. That's not like a dwelling.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So now yeah, that ain't gonna work. Look, I know what you want to do. My recommendation to you is look into, basically getting a small drivable RV that counts as your single vehicle under the SSI allowable provisions, and utilize that. Because what you want to do is not legal, which never helps. I mean, everybody does it, but it doesn't fall within their provisions. And B, you're like, I don't want to spend a lot of gas, but man, if you're towing and you're parking all the time, you're going to spend a lot of gas,
Yeah. But I had figured that I could, drop it at a friend's house and go do my errands and then come pick it up at night. You know what I mean? But I mean, if that's not possible, then I guess I would have to look into RVs.
What kind of vehicle do you have right now?
Right now, I have a minivan.
Well, I mean, all right. So why don't you just upgrade to like a live-in van?
Yeah, I might have to think about that.
I mean, they got some nice like live-in vans. I mean, look, my dream one day, if I were to ever, sell the law firm, is to go travel to all of basically the national parks, the national forests, the national this, and that. I want to go see it all. I want to see the states. I want to see the cultures. I want to see everything. Because I literally live in a chair that's a piece is falling off it right now. So the point here is, I think what you're saying to me is you want to be safe, if not in fear of being kicked out, but if you are, have a plan B where you can live in something, be in something else. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's accurate. That's the reason why I bought the van in the first place. And, it's just, it has a lot of miles on it now. And, with the back pay that I'm getting, I want to buy a vehicle and, things that I'm trying to look into the future to future-proof my future, I guess you would say.
Yeah, sure.
I don't just want to spend it, within that time frame on stuff that I don't need. And we can't hold on to it, correct? We can't keep it in the bank.
Not beyond a certain point. I think they give you like 9 months. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll probably just think about looking into RVs then.
I mean, man, yeah. You don't have to have a Mercedes. You don't have to have a this or that. Man, there's a lot of really great options out there on, Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist. You know what I mean? There's a lot of great cheap options that still have decent engines. Because remember, a lot of these RVs, they weren't driven to death. People buy them, they sit in their, they sit in their driveway, and then they just basically get old. Sometimes they need some roof repair, roof painting, whatever. But point is, I mean, that's not what you're looking for. If you're in that price range, you could get something half decent, just do a little bit of upkeep work, and that's your number one car.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you, everything you do for us, and thank you a lot, Walter.
Absolutely, good sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Okay, you too.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, guys, I want to do a shout out real quick to Tina's vlogs. I really, really appreciate it. She's right. I have to have something other than, basically the YouTube, because they take it. I have a thing for my student loans, which I just posted there on the GoFundMe. That's basically where you can also make donations. It's something that helps me out. My student loans, for the first time in my life, which is just a really long time that I've been paying them, just got under $300,000. which for me is massive. Some of you are sitting there going like, oh my fudgesicle, how could your student loans be that high? They were way higher. They got to 500. Then I couldn't pay a bunch. They got to like 600-ish. And then they came down to 300, just below 300. So we're moving in the right direction, people. All right, next call. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing on speaker. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
I just have a couple questions, Walter.
Sure.
Hey, I am on SSDI, and they told me that when I turn 62, that they're going to put me on Social Security income. Can they do that?
No, if you're on SSDI, you wait and sit on it until you hit 66, 67. I mean, everybody's pretty much 67 at this point for the full retirement age. They convert you with that. Are you sure you're not SSI?
I'm on SSDI right now.
How much are you getting per month?
They said,
if you don't mind me asking, because that'll tell me.
Okay, I get like 1,024 after Medicare.
Okay, cool. Yeah, your SSDI. You're not going to be converted at 62. You're going to be converted around 67 years old over to that program, which is your retirement. You're in Title II land, and Title II converts from SSDI to retirement at full retirement 67. SSI converts at 62 over to retirement if you have enough quarters of coverage.
Oh, okay. And does that hurt if I have any assets?
Well, I mean, no, because like for SSDI benefits, they don't care what resources. Like, so here's the thing with SSDI benefits: you could have SSDI benefits and win the lottery, and you would lose the benefits for 1 month. But the next month, once you've held on to those lottery winnings and it's no longer income, the next month it becomes a resource, right? Because it's not income anymore; it becomes a resource. Then it doesn't matter, because they don't care about resources in SSDI land, because you paid in, right? You paid money in. You bought. You're just getting paid what you already paid in. That's why.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just worried because they told me that I was going to be put on SSI at 62.
Well, now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are you a hybrid allowance?
When I first got it.
Yeah, are you a hybrid allowance? Like, do you have SSI and SSDI benefits, or are you just purely SSDI benefits?
I'm just purely SSDI.
Yeah, then the local field office, which is I'm sure who you were speaking to, got it wrong. You're not going to convert at 62 to retirement. You're going to convert at 67 to retirement. That's why all these people during COVID were filing for SSDI benefits who were 58, 59 years old. They want to get on disability, get basically an equivalent check to the retirement check, and just ride that puppy all the way to 67 without being penalized.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great then. That makes me feel a little bit better. I was thinking, because if I do go back to Social Security, it actually would be less than my SSDI.
Well,
and then I was worried about. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's just usually the retirement amount is similar to your SSDI amount. Have you asked them what your retirement amount would be?
They've sent me paper about it, but I can't remember. I mean, it's been a while since they've sent me that kind of paper where, it tells you your retirement, how much you would get in retirement.
Okay. Well, hey, man, if you want to call them, wait on the phone for 45 minutes, go through about 15 minutes of, auto attendant push buttons,
right.
And, get redirected 3 times. If you want to go through the Chutes and Ladder video game, telephonic video game known as Call the SSA, and use their online, SSA.gov system, they'll be able to tell you what your retirement will be, which should be around the same amount as your SSDI benefits. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I try to listen to you a lot, and I'm picking up a lot. So I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for answering my question. And I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, good sir. Have a wonderful, wonderful, happy holiday season. Go find a Santa, give him a little fist bump, and have fun.
Yeah.
So.
All right. You're great, Walter. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
We need more people like you in this world.
Thank you, good sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That's awesome, guys. So we're going to let's do 2 more phone calls, just two more phone calls. It is the holiday season. I am worn out. Look at my eyes. Like, look at that. That is just, if any of you have a makeup tutorial and you need somebody that looks depressed, tired, anxious, having a panic attack every 15 years, if you need somebody to sit and model this gorgeous, sadistically sad face, I mean, look at that. That's just, look at that. Look at that. Thank God I have oily skin. You can't even see any wrinkles up top. Good genetics. All right, here we go. So, and when I say good genetics, I mean like I have to use special soap bars. It's just, I don't know what the hell's, I don't know. What is that, right? What is, all right, let's get to the next call real quick. I'm going to see if I can call somebody back who I didn't talk with. Here's somebody I didn't talk with, right? Boop, here. Let's call him back. He called back a couple of times. Let's get him on the air real quick. Here we go. We are dialing. Very good, very good. I think the doggies finally just left me because they were hunting for a treat.
Hello.
Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Would you like to, now remember, use a fake name. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to answer, or go ahead and run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
A lot of people are becoming expatriates and moving overseas because of the economics.
Yeah.
And
me too.
The website says that if you're an SSDI or SSI, they combine them. They don't separate them. You have to report if you're out of the country longer than 30 days.
Right.
Well, that doesn't save any money to fly to the Philippines every 30 days and fly back.
Yeah.
Now,
So
when I called them, they said, no, that's only for SSI.
Correct. But there's a caveat. You brought up an important point. A lot of people have a hybrid allowance of SSI and SSDI benefits. And it's just because they didn't work and earn the quarters of coverage. They didn't pay in enough over time with their, 35-year averaging algorithm, it blah, blah, blah. And so their SSDI amount is below 900. And then they get some SSI benefits to boost it up to around 900. So let's say you get, $500 at SSDI, and then you're getting another $400 of SSI benefits. So 500 SSDI, 400 SSI, right? Total 900. We're just doing sloppy math right now, but you get the gist. If you go overseas for more than 30 days, you're going to lose the SSI, which means you're only going to be left with 500 SSDI benefits. Now, if you got all SSDI benefits, let's say you got 1,600 SSDI per month, you keep it all, go move overseas. It makes sense. It's cheaper. People, I'm told, are happier. But the bottom line is that if you have any combination of what they call a dual filing, then essentially what happens is you will lose your SSI benefits, and then obviously that person who was getting 900 now down to 500 is going to be what's called an unhappy camper.
I never saw anything where it said I got SSI. I got disability in 1985.
Oh, wow. The rules were so different then. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get around a little over $1,000.
I mean, yeah. So the bottom line is you're and what would really anger you is if you found out you should have been getting like $1,800 if they had just kept the COLA up to what it was supposed to be. But the point of this whole thing is, in your situation, since your SSDI benefits, you can move to, I mean, where were you? I'm curious. Where'd you want to go?
Dumaguete, Philippines. I can actually rent an apartment and survive on, like the $1,200 a month. And in States, you can't.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you this. Everybody wants to go to the Philippines. Why the Philippines as opposed to Taiwan, as opposed to one of these other Asian island nations?
English is the official language. All documents, legal documents have to be printed in English. They drive on the same side of the road. Multiple reasons. It's so westernized compared to Thailand or Vietnam, where the language differences are.
Okay, that was a good answer. I didn't hear boats in there. I'm concerned. I didn't hear islands in there. I'm concerned. But that was a good answer. All right.
Yeah, it's just being able to go over and not have to learn a new language.
Yeah,
is a big part of it.
Are you worried at all? I'm just curious, for my own edification, about the influence of what's going on with the superpowers on that side of Earth. Like, are you worried about that at all? Is that like a thing that you've been thinking about?
Not really. For one thing, the U.S. was in the Philippines for many years, and then now they're actually kind of sharing bases over there. And China isn't going to invade the Philippines; they just went in and bought it. So
yeah, from inside, yeah.
It's not like it's going to be an invasion. What they got, they already have, and they did it through just quietly buying, what they needed to have, which is the labor force.
Yeah, for sure. But that doesn't worry you.
No, I was over there last month for 30 days, and one thing you don't worry about is crime or anything else. There just is absolutely zero crime. I mean, it's poverty, but nobody I talked to has been there as long as 13 years have ever heard of anybody robbing anybody in Dumaguete, which is where I'll be going.
So I think one of the things you pointed out as a more serious note for tonight is that other countries have a culture that lacks crime. We have certain areas in the United States where crime is a hotspot. I mean, you go to certain cities and there's no doubt, pretty much a couple times a week, somebody's murdered and violently murdered. And as a result of that, it causes this overall problem where when we as Americans go to these foreign nations, granted you have other foreign nations that are significantly more terrible, but you go over to some of these Asian countries and their culture is very anti-violence, anti-crime. Now, can you tell me, because you were there and I have my, where I feel it comes from, why do you feel that crime is not a part of the culture in that area of the world?
It's an embarrassment. They hate to lose face, and if you do anything in that country, they put you in a little jail cell on a street corner and basically embarrass you and your entire family. Nobody wants that. So it's a matter of saving face for them. And
yeah,
I mean, for your whole family to be humiliated would be more than they would be able to bear.
So one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that in these Asian nations, when somebody goes ahead and commits a crime that brings great, I guess, scrutiny on the family and great shame on the family, so there's a high prevalence of that person committing suicide as a result of that. And it is that deep. It is a form of almost like a PTSD causing instant, how could I do this? I've ruined everything for my family. We don't have that in America. In America, families are split up. Families are trying to support each other to get food to survive. But then there's crime, and those who commit crime, they're not worried about what their mom's going to think, So I think you've hit on one of the best aspects of some of these Asian nations, which is that the culture is more tied into respect of oneself and one's family. And we have lost that in majority in this country, in my opinion,
Yeah, the culture is completely different. It's nothing like here. I mean, it's extreme respect. That's one thing you have to show respect to elders over there. You absolutely never make them lose face. That's the fastest way you will be, asked to leave the country.
Yeah.
It's a strict Catholic country. In fact, divorce is illegal over there. So the culture is very different.
Would you say, and look, this is just what I think is going on over there. Would you say their culture has retained the fix what's broken methodology as opposed to everything being disposable?
Oh yeah, I went over on my way over. My soles came off a brand new pair of sneakers.
Oh wow!
And I wear size 16s. I knew I was never going to be able to find them.
Yeah.
And so I went into a coffee shop, and a guy was sitting there with his Filipino wife. And I told them what happened. And she says, "Bring them in the next day." I brought them in the next day. She took them down to the open market And there's always a guy in the street corner, I found out after the first week, that sits there and fixes shoes. And he literally sewed the soles all the way around my sneakers, back on the sneakers, just like they used to. And it was $6.
Wow. Wow. I had a pair
You
of
know,
shoes for $70 repaired. Wow. $6. Oh, oh my
Yeah.
God. Wow.
I said, it's not a disposal. You know, they don't throw things away there. I mean, it's, you know, and I would have thrown them away myself, but I would have never found another pair of shoes over there.
Not that size.
Because I'm over 6'2", and their height is averaging about 5'2", and so my clothing I can't find over there or anything else. So I had to make sure I had everything taken with me.
True.
And especially the shoes.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
but yeah, no, like, you know, you go into open markets, there's guys sitting there fixing wristwatches, you know, repairing things. They find our own jobs by, like, you pull up in front of a store and you on a little bike or a scooter, a guy just takes your scooter and parks it for you, and you pay him 20 pesos. When you come out, he brings it out to you, wipes your seat off. You know, they're hard workers. They're pretty good at, you know, making their money, but the minimum wage in that country is $190 a month.
Wow. Wow. Jeez. Wow. Well, look,
So
you've sold
why
me. I mean,
expats we can live there.
look, I watch YouTube videos of basically, you know, drone footage of those places. And I absolutely, the islands, the beauty of it, it's just absolutely incredible. Now, the culture, I think what you brought up is really on point, because one of the things that America has given up is the sense of long-term engagement. Everything nowadays is a Dixie cup that you throw away, whether it's a person in your life or it's a computer that you have or it's a whatever. Like you said, the shoes, they fix them. And in your case, I'm guessing these were like classic rubber sole shoes, which normally you wouldn't put a sew mark through. Or what kind of shoes were these?
Yeah, they were. They're big name brand shoes they were, but you remember your old fashioned sneakers used to have stitches around the soles,
Yeah,
and then they went to the artificial stitches, and now they just glue on. Well, this guy sat down there, and in an hour he hand stitched all the way around these shoes, and, you know, of course, added glue to the bottom, so I got fixed them, and you know. And there's enough of that going on that he had a business doing that. You know, people having their shoes repaired.
Wow. Wow. Well,
I mean, in this country, you're not going to find a cobbler.
It's tough. I know of one in my county, and even then, the price is to repair shoes. You just buy new shoes. That's what it's come down to. Even though the repair would be better than the new shoes that you would get, it's still, you would just buy new shoes. But anyways, good sir. Yeah, I hope that answered your.
Thank you for your information. No, but that does. I will ask specifically if I have an SSI component to mine, and I will advise my friends who are also in the same boat. I have 3 friends who are in the same boat, and I will have them ask the Social Security Department if they are, you know, have SSI components to theirs.
Perfect. Well, good sir, you have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will catch you later, and hopefully one day I will catch you over on that side of the world.
Thank you.
Thank you, good sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So he hit on things that I think are incredibly important that nobody ever really talks about, and that's the fix-it culture versus the replace-it culture. I think that TikTok, I think that Facebook has made this like upgrade. You need to upgrade. You need something better than what you got. What you got is good enough. You need something better. Better. And I think what he hit on was what makes people actually happy, which is finding and using something. And whether it perfectly fits you in the beginning or it morphs into what you become accustomed to and fits you then. I mean, look, the best way I can explain it is if you ever had like a bracelet that you really liked, or a pair of shoes that you really liked, or a shirt that you really liked, or a pair of jeans that just fit perfectly, fixing them over and over. And what's interesting is that he said, I don't know if you caught it, that that person that was working on the shoes was hand sewing, because think about that, having to put through essentially a needle through that sole right? You would pull the insert out, and then you would sew around that. You have to get underneath there, right? When you go inside it. So it's very difficult to sew that. But to push the needle through, there's very few machines that could actually do that. So the point is this. That's incredible. So, all right, guys, we're going to take one more phone call, and then that's it for the night. Let me see if we've got one here. Hold on. We've missed another one over. Oh, my goodness. Right here. Hold on. Right here. Okay, good. And speaker. Excellent. So, okay, we're going to call this one person left, right? And then we're going to go ahead and end the show because I'm super tired. Let's see if we can get him on the line.
Hello?
Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. Remember to use a fake name throughout the process. Remember to mute the computer in the background. As a real quick update, would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
I have a question.
Okay.
So I am on SSDI and have been for many years, since approximately 2005.
Okay.
I, many years ago, used my 9-month trial work period, and my understanding is that I'm past the 36-month period and so forth.
Okay.
And in all candor, because of the things that went on in my life over the pandemic, I need to make some money, and I have employable skills that I think can be accommodated. But to make a long story short, the reason I'm calling is I think I heard you say at some point briefly on a previous week's task that under certain circumstances, after you're on disability long enough, you get another crack at a new, fresh 9-month trial work period.
Right.
And I tried to check into that in my home area, and the advice I got was that wasn't true. That I would have to start all over again because I was so far along in the process.
I don't remember exactly when it restarts. I have to go look it up again, but it does restart after a period. Let me go ahead and check real quick. All right, trial work period consists of 9 total months within a 5-year, 60-month period with a rolling eligibility term. Okay, so basically what I'm reading here is, hold on, because I forget sometimes. Within 5 years following the conclusion of a 60-month rolling eligibility period, they may be entitled to a new. If an individual loses the deal and subsequently restate, they will be allowed a new TWP after meeting. All right, so what he's saying here, I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. He's saying that if you don't complete it, you get a new shot at it. After essentially 5 years. But I think there was a thing where you get another shot after 5 years in general. Let me check real quick. I'd have to find it again. I have to find the specific statute on that because what's going on with that is that usually if you lose benefits and then reapply and get reinstated, you get a new trial work period. But I think there's some 5-year provision where basically you get to go ahead and retap that option. Now, with that said, I mean, if you're looking to make real money here to kind of see what you can do, have you tried out the Ticket to Work program? Have you applied for that?
Well, I looked at it many years ago, but not in a long time. Frankly, it scares me a little because I don't want to put my benefits in jeopardy. And so, and there's one other fact that I think might be relevant to you to know to help me. I've been working under SGA. In other words, until the pandemic, I was consistently for years, working at a salary level just below that number on purpose, to not put my benefits in jeopardy. And then over the pandemic, there just hasn't been money for that. And quite frankly, I'm having trouble paying my bills. And I know we're talking on YouTube, so I'm trying to be a little bit careful.
Sure, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But you know, I routinely turn down the opportunity to do some contract work because the only way some of these big companies can bring me on, according to their own policies, is to make me a W-2 employee, and 1 month of $5,000 or $8,000 worth of salary will mess me over.
Okay.
And so I was trying to figure out if I could get a new 9 months and then go get like a 6-month consulting contract, make $8,000 a month, and clean up the mess.
Oh, I see. Okay, I gotcha. So what I'm reading here from the statute is, basically you got to do a reset after 5 years, where you do an expedited reinstatement, or basically you reapply kind of gig, which is dangerous for people who are found disabled back in the day because the rules change. And so, you might not be disabled under the new rules. And if you get disconnected and you're working that much, the judges might say, no, you can go and work. So in this case, in your situation, you wouldn't be able to, after a 5-year period, go get a new trial work period unless you had an expedited reinstatement or a new filing. But man, that's dangerous, because if you're working and earning that much, yeah.
But an expedited reinstatement requires that I get kicked off first,
correct.
Right?
Yeah, correct, exactly. So they gotta remove them, and then basically, there has to be that 5-year period they remove, and then you go into the next period. But the point is, your only option at this point, and since you've gone through trial work period, extended eligibility period, is the ticket to work program, which doesn't sound like something. I mean, have you approached them? And what's the goal here? I mean, could you potentially work a full-time job consistently?
With extensive accommodations, potentially.
Okay.
I have severe cerebral palsy. Okay. So I was approved under neurological in about 2005.
Okay.
So that's essentially the basis of my physical disability claim, and absolutely nobody seems to disagree with the fact that I'm medically eligible. I just got approved for a really fancy power chair worth about $50,000. Okay, so I'm not worried about not qualifying.
Okay,
but maybe I guess I should say, should I be concerned about that? Given what I just said, I guess on one level, right? But I'm also broke, so if I went out and if I was able to get something going for a while, right, and got myself kicked off and put my health insurance in jeopardy, because I'm currently use traditional Medicare with a traditional supplemental.
Gotcha.
At the moment. How do I say this? I don't have enough in savings if the expedited reinstatement took, a long time to get reinstated. Even if it goes well, I'm sufficiently broke that I won't be able to pay the mortgage.
Your answer is not a new trial work period. It's not. I mean, that's still a Band-Aid to a bigger problem, which is not enough money. Which means you got to find somebody to rent a room from you, somebody to rent something from you to bring in extra cash, but you still got to watch out for that SGA. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's what you're running into.
Right.
And I get why you're trying to use a 9-month trial work period to try and boost it, but that's a Band-Aid, and look, it's one of those situations where you're going to get tangled, and a ticket to work program isn't the answer either, because it just kicks you off. And it sounds like you've got to be on benefits and have basically a very pro-claimant job where they're giving you a ton of accommodations. Those jobs are becoming rarer and rarer because the economy is total junk. So, and people keep saying, go ahead. Yeah.
And really, I think I'm pretty confident because I have 2 graduate degrees. Okay. I have an MBA and an IT degree with a specialty in security. Okay. So if I was willing to get W-2 employed as a contractor, I'm pretty sure somebody paying me to do something for a little while But the problem is, it's the nature of that work that even when I do a great job and work perfectly, the work comes to an end way before I retire conventionally. And so I don't have any ability to, sort of outlast reapplying for benefits medically, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Because if it takes 6 months to get reinstated, I'm not going to have
You
enough
got
money.
nothing. You got no insurance. You got no food. Nothing. Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm intentionally leaving my name out of what I'm saying here, but I'm going to give you another fact. Okay.
Okay.
I own a corporation.
Okay.
A C corporation.
A C corporation.
And
wow.
I did that on purpose for legal reasons.
Okay.
Because it doesn't, and we won't bother that on YouTube. But so in the past, when the company was doing better, the company generated money, and I wasn't the only worker. We had a small number of employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was allowed to do that because the business is completely separate from me, and I took a salary under SGA, and we had lots of bills and all kinds of things. So there was ways to do that. Well, I theoretically could keep doing that, but it's harder and harder to get the people that want me to work with them to be able to do that, because some of those people that would like to engage me are larger corporations, and they have all these rules about, we won't do this or that with small outfits. So I'm really kind of just trying to figure out how to deal with my physical realities, not get kicked off of everything, and frankly generate income, so that I don't get into a place where I have trouble paying my mortgage, because I already own my home.
Is there any potential of selling that corporation?
No, because it essentially what we do is sell brain power, and most of it's mine. So there's no physical assets that matter,
right,
that sort of thing. And if I leave it, then then the value goes away too at the moment.
This is a tough situation where you're caught in a bit of their mousetrap. Losing benefits reinstatement, whether expedited or not, is not the answer.
Okay.
Ticket to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be your main. Go ahead.
What ticket to work? Can you? I know it's late and you're tired, and I'm beating you up here.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as a short version about how ticket to work would really work in a situation like mine?
Well, so long as you're.
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah. So long as you're.
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah. So long as your employer would be validated by the SSA, you get 5 years to earn the money, keep the money, keep your benefits. You keep, you give them basically updates all the time. You sign a contract, and then at the end of it, you're no longer on disability benefits. You're working full time.
So what would happen if, say, I'm just making up a hypothetical here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I worked somewhere for 4 years, and just to make the scenario is worst case scenario, like if I just quit on year 4,
mm-hmm.
would I get my benefits back?
Oh, they'd look at that as like a fraud thing, though. Like there would have to be something that happened, you know what I mean, to no longer make you eligible for the Ticket to Work program.
What if they lay me off? What if companies, like, say, for example, like, I'm just making this up, company A with 1,000 employees legit hires me, right?
Right.
And I legit do my job. 3.5 years pass, and they just lay me off. What happens?
A, it depends on your status within the contract that you basically, and B, it depends on the reasons that they have for terminating you. Because remember, they're going to come up with reasons to say, you didn't put forth effort, yada, yada, which builds the SSA's claim of fraud against you. So you'd have to look at the Ticket to Work program contract that you signed, because they update it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there would have to be And what you're asking me realistically is what is the safe way to get out of it after a chunk of time? And that is something I would,
Well,
yeah.
Either voluntarily or involuntarily. For example, when I applied for disability the first time, meaning what I'm on now, right?
Right.
What happened was my originally situation. I worked for a major employer at a management level. Okay, post 9/11, they laid off like 2,000 people. Okay, I got caught up in that. Right, looked for a job, did everything a normal person would do, but had a disability. At the end of that process, didn't have much success. Applied for disability, immediately got approved on the basis I described. So I'm trying to imagine, well, what if I get caught up in a similar layoff, but I'm in the middle of the contract, and they just wake up and 1,000 people don't have a job anymore.
So in that situation, it's different because that is company wide, yada yada. But look, and here's what's happening. My doggy's right here, kind of nudging me to go outside. Send me a copy of the newest Ticket to Work program contract, and then I'll give me the hypo you want me to do, or examples of hypos you want me to do, and then I'll do a legal analysis based off of those hypos and do videos on that. That way, what would be likely acceptable versus something that is fraud, essentially getting out of a contractual agreement with the SSA.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to put you through a bunch of work unnecessarily. I should do my own general homework on it, I suppose. But I guess what I'm saying is, if I don't have control over why I have to leave, I don't know how that works. Right? If it's the employer's decision to get rid of me.
Yeah, but the employers are part of the contracting process. You know what I mean? This is like a whole thing they sign into too.
So they have to sign the contract too.
Well, not the same. It's not always the same. Yeah, it's a little bit more. But wow! So somebody just donated SEK 30, which is awesome. Thank you, Ryshock. So here's the thing: go grab the most recent Ticket to Work contract. Shoot me an email with it. Send me some things that you're looking for from it. I got to take Sweetie out because she's bugging me over to my left here. But yeah, send it over to me. We'll go through it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
I appreciate all you do for us.
Absolutely. I'll catch you later. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to take Sweetie out. She's bugging me to go out. She's right here. She's wiggling her little booty. I will catch you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, and we will go from there. Sleep well, guys, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Alrighty, guys. Catch you later. Bye-bye.